Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. It seems that you've caught me playing with Diceself. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, or whatever time zone it is, whether you in the world, it is your Lord and Saviour, with another episode of the Playing with Diceself podcast, where the sad British Goth girl plays TTRPGs by themselves. The TTRPG in question being the official, brand new Ghost in the Shell TTRPG by Mantic Games. This is not the one based on the Ghost in the Shell Rise anime, but based on the 1990s classic manga, which we have talked about actually in a review, which you can go and check out at your own leisure, because this is a review advanced copy sent to me by the developers of the TTRPG, Mantic Games. And as of the recording of this, the 13th of July 2026, in the year of the Lord Talos, this is probably going to be the first actual play of this TTRPG, and if it's not, this is certainly going to be the first solo actual play, so potentially 2 cherries popped for the price of 1. Lovely stuff, and I am so excited to be doing this, not just because, wanking the ego with the first cherry poppings and all that, but I just think it's such a fun little system, and it'd be really fun to play this for the first time in an actual play. So that's actually 3 cherries popped. Lovely stuff! Wowzers! All good things come in threes, just like your mum. As you might have gathered already, I do not have the physical book as of yet. It's just a PDF, so I might be looking over there because I've got a big old computer screen. Another cherry pop. That's 4 because they typically rely on physical books. Lovely stuff! So yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure, as we play an agent of Section 9 in Newport City, a fictional city in Japan in the Ghost in the Shell setting. The default year is going to be 2030, so if you've read the manga, it's sort of like the latter half of that manga. So just before the whole Puppet Master thing, actually. So we're not going to be taking too much into consideration about the actual event for camp, just so we know where we're sitting roughly in the timeline of things. And we are an agent of Section 9. We're going to be working directly with some of the cast members, I am sure, and taking our objectives probably from the Prime Minister. I don't know, because we haven't actually generated a mission. We're going to be doing that on the fly. And one physical book I can show off, we're going to be using the Mythic GM Emulator 2nd Edition as our oracle, as our little assistant with the brain juices to get things flying. And I've done a review of this, so go and check that out when you have the time. But let's actually talk about the character that we're going to be making on this character sheet that I printed out from the PDF. Now, their name is Elizabeth Adachi, and if you know the things I've smashed together with that, you're absolutely goated. Now, you can see the entire backstory on the screen, because there's actually a little agent backstory thing at the top of the character sheet. So just to summarise to the best of my ability, Elizabeth Adachi is half English, half Japanese, half fucking awkward, antisocial piece of shit. Cute, though. Who, as a kid, was absolutely obsessed with technology, robots, and just working their way around with computers. And at a time when they were a kid and growing up, it was rather seen as rather cute. But the older they got, the more curious they got, and the more trouble they got in poking around at this, that, and the other, learning how to hack into things, etc., and so forth. And it's only going to be a matter of time before they were going to get in some actual trouble. Where, on the eve of their 30th birthday, they attempt to hack in and steal some government information. 2 things particularly bad happened with that. First of all, they were caught and they were just about to be sections to be executed, because the death penalty is very much a thing in Japan, and their hack went wrong and they actually had their eyes burned away, so it was completely sitting in total darkness there. And they were going to be killed, as I've mentioned already, because that's technically what happens with executions. They got the interest of Section 9, who were meant to be dealing with this case, because this technically makes Elizabeth an actual terrorist, but they saw the hacking potential as, okay, well, we'll take you on board, but you've got to work with us, sort of thing. I think Elizabeth really would be more keen about being able to legally hack into things rather than the value over their own life in that moment, which sort of links into some of the things on the character sheet of itself. Starting off with the cybernetics, they've got cyber senses, and in my character sheet, and probably on the overlay thing, I've put in brackets eyes, because you choose a cybernetic part at character creation, providing it's not a cyborg body sort of thing, like Motoko has, who's got a character sheet in the book. book, so all the more reason to go and check out this TTRPG if you want to know the official stats for everybody's favourite cyber gal. Now, with the cyber senses with the eyes, it's going to allow us to have a modifier whenever we're basically doing anything that requires us to use our eyes, within reason, I should say. The way that works in this TTRPG, we're going to be using a whole host of different dice types for making our rolls here, and it's called upgrading them. So in this instance, using our eyes is going to be using our awareness attribute stat thing, which we're going to be rolling a D, where the fuck's it gone, a D6 for that, and I've got a blue one here, like that Ghost in the Shell manga cover blue there. That D6 is going to become a D8, so really that's a pretty neat system actually, and sometimes we're going to be adding additional dice of it as well, because we're going to be combining our stats with our certain skills. So for example, if we combine that with our deceptive rank 1, we are going to be rolling a D6 for awareness, but we're also going to be rolling a D4, because the 1 rank equals a D4, rank 2 is a D6, and then 3 is a D8, etc. and so forth. But all of our skills go up to 2. The highest it can go during character creation is 3, but I haven't done that with my character sheet. And I'm sort of jumping all over the place a little bit. I'm kind of describing the rules as we're going along here. Anyway, I'm going to go through the rest of the character sheet now. Our stats are divided into 3 types: Ghost, Shell, and Cyberbrain. When you're doing your character stuff, usually by default, you set all of your stats to 6 to represent that you're a skilled agent, but there is an option where you can drop one of the stats to a D4 and boost the other one to a D8, and that's what I've done here. So the Ghost stats, awareness and presence being the more social stat, they're both D6s. For the Shell, muscle, which is like your strength and fighting sort of shenanigans, that's a D4, because it kind of made sense that this socially inert girl who spends all of her time as a shut-in with computers and whatnot isn't going to be the most physically fit individual. I imagine they'll be either fairly slim or the skinny side of things, maybe somewhere in between. I'm not quite too sure. I think slim probably makes sense, because they're going to have some training to be a good agent. So just on the fine line of things, I suppose. Their reflexes as a D6, and the hacking I've obviously bumped up to the D8, so it didn't make much sense to me if that was going to be a D6. That was obviously going to be the high one, D4 for the muscle. And then the barrier, now that doesn't have a dice type associated with that. If we get hacked into, that's going to be the difficulty they're going to be beating. So, depending on the dice type that we choose to roll for those particular instances, that's either going to be really easy or really difficult. That leads us on to the Ghost Whispers, which, to describe badly, is sort of like our luck pool, but the way that it works, that traditionally in a group setting, you throw in a point just to change the effect of a roll or the narrative or whatever. The Games Master, for example, might say, okay, you're going to need to spend 6 Ghost Whisper points, because this is a really big thing that you're wanting to change. So then other people would have to start pulling in their Ghost Whisper points, which acts as a huge sort of a collaborative risk element. Now, usually in group play, you start with 4 each. I've given myself 6 because this is a solo play thing, and it's generally a recommended idea just to boost something on the character sheet. Typically, I don't, but I feel like I've got a little thing in my gut thinking I'm going to need some extra Ghost Whisper points for this, honestly. And we can get some of those points back and gain more from my understanding of things by basically doing really cool things in games, like the sort of like wow, awe-inspiring factor moments. Now, as I'm the solo player, I now have to think fairly about how I'm going to be rewarding points back. So I'm not going to be hopefully giving myself a lot. I'm quite strict in that sense. With the skills, we choose from a list of skills that I've talked about already, so it's not like... The book presents like a whole load of skills that your character can get, and then you choose a certain number of them, and depending on other things you've done with the character sheet, you can add more or slightly less. We've got Cybernetic Expert, which is a rank 2, meaning we're rolling a D6 with certain related hacking and technology related things. Deceptive is 1, Dexterous is 1, Logical is 2, Perceptive is 1, Streetwise is 1, because there are some sort of like criminal-esque sort of things connecting with the character. So I like to think that she has like some contact somewhere within the city that helps her out with this, that, or the other. Not like I'm huge like mafia controlling criminal sort of thing, but I think she would know of different bits and pieces. Tech Expert, which is also 2, which is again similar to Cybernetic Expert. There's some slight differences, and we can refer to the book as and when that's required. And then we've got Counter Hacker. Now, all the skills I mentioned so far are your standard skills that anybody can really be trained to do or learn through experience, like through Streetwise. Counter Hacker is a specialized skill, which is basically, from what I'm remembering from the top of my head, it's going to make it harder for individuals to hack us. Like the first one, if they fail on a wall or something, we have an ability to immediately hack them back, and with rank 2 I believe that just upgrades the dice type that we're using. So in this instance, if they fail to hack into us, rather than using a D8, that now becomes a D10. And that's pretty cool, I think. There isn't anything complicated with hacking. It's literally you've got to roll a dice and beat that particular difficulty, which is fairly simple. I absolutely love that. This is a cyberpunk game similar to the other major one, particularly the 2020 inspired setting, where different body parts have health points. And I can't quite remember how this works at the moment. I believe it's similar to the Synthesis Conflict. We're going to be taking slashes and crosses going from temporary to permanent. And you won't see it with the overlay, but everything, mostly everything, the different limbs, the left, right arm, left leg and right leg have 3, the torso has 4, and the head has 2. So that's particularly dangerous, and I absolutely love that. Now, the Synthesis Conflict thing is going to be a meter thing that's going to be like going up and down as we're playing. If you have any experience with Pendragon, this is actually going to be very familiar for you. In certain situations, different aspects of us are going to influence how we're going to be role-playing. So in this instance, I chose Belonging and Solitude, because I think with everybody who is anxious and is a shut-in or a recluse, there is that great desire to just be by yourself because you're just used to it and you can just get on with life and not feel a letdown or burden to anybody. It's not trying to like insert myself too much into here. Not that Elizabeth is disabled, I am. But there's also that huge sense of wanting to feel belonging in a group and society, and there's this huge like juxtaposition of emotions and feelings and whatever, and anxiety and whatnot. So depending on certain instances as we're playing, this sense of belonging and solitude is going to be adding dice rolls to things. So in this particular instance, with our solitude, we're going to be rolling on a d6 to upgrade things, or to add things, like a skill but with a different sort of meter. And with belonging, it's a d4. That's like the weaker the tune. You choose which one is going to be weaker in this instance, and I thought the desire to be alone is greater than the desire to belong, with the whole anxious thing that I mentioned already. I forgot to mention this earlier on, but with the centre of the cybernetic eyes, obviously they've got like different eyes. I like to think they look a bit more on the cybernetic sort of side, but when I was looking at the cyberpunk anime girls on Google, I couldn't find anything that was to my taste, so I found something that worked a little bit like the sort of like the you'll see later on when I do something a bit fun with that, I hope. We also have the setbacks, which you also choose at character creation. These are all roleplay related. There aren't any mechanics associated to that. And I thought it made sense, or at least I thought it would be interesting actually, that we chose wanted. That when I was putting together the character, think, okay, we've been taken on board and that's like had our sins, our crimes washed away sort of thing. No, not necessarily. We are still technically wanted. The police may recognise us, and as and when required, I will do particular roles to see if we are recognised by authorities, and we may have to either roleplay our way out of this or do some combat, because who knows actually. And then there leaves weapons and equipment. Now, you've noticed that there's absolutely nothing on here. As I kind of talked about a moment ago, when we are making our character sheets, the Games Master will present the mission to the players, and then you have a certain number of requisition points. In my instance, it's going to be 12. I say that because you can take an additional setback if you want, and then get yourself an additional 2 or 3, I can't quite remember. So you don't own weapons, gear, etc. You have to hire them out. And I thought it'd be a really fun idea if we could generate a mission with Mythic, because unfortunately the book doesn't have like a mission generator sort of thing, which I think is a very wasted opportunity. So we can develop the mission, and then we can decide the weapons and whatnot that we are going to take with us, so we can. So it just seems just a bit fair, you know. I think that would just be a bit fun, honestly. So without further ado, I'm going to move the character sheet over there for the time being, get rid of that tissue from my bunged up nose with hay fever. I think it's hay fever anyway, because it's been a bit weird at the moment. And we're going to open up and have a look at all these different tables. Well, I'm going to have a look at them anyway. You're not going to have a fucking look at them. I'll talk about them though. So basically for this, it's a D100 theme from these different tables. Mythic itself has like the GM emulated Chaos Factor table. It's going to be assumed at Chaos Factor 5. I've talked about this many times before. Go and check out my other actual plays. It's basically going to up and decrease the ante of how much in control that we're going to be. So we've got a D100 here. I should probably talk about the different dice levels. So briefly, you see that we've got these little blue ones that aren't showing too well in the light. As I said, like the Ghost and the Shell sort of manga design, and I've got this teal and purple one because as it's a cyberpunk setting, it's just the assumption that everybody is some degree of bisexual and or non-binary, because, you know, cybernetics, philosophy, politics, so if that's just triggered you because I've mentioned pronouns in some of my posts and videos lately and it's just gotten people a bit weirded out, so fuck off if this has upset you. We're going to get a lot more fucking woke as we carry on playing. So let us roll a D100 and see with these action tables if what we're going to be generating on the fly here. And before I do that, again, I'm going to pull out my little B5 solo book thingy here, just so I can make some notes down, because I feel, especially with this particular instance, we are going to get very fucking lost and confused. It's also going to be really helpful when we're designing the character. I have no idea what the fuck that was. You're just making notes, combat, all the rest of it, etc. and so forth. So, fuck, I've run out of desk space pretty fucking quickly. Okay, whatever. We'll make this work somehow. So, we're going to roll now, probably. I don't fucking know. Let's roll on the book before we roll on the dice thing. Maybe. No, I'm running out of space. Fuck. Let's roll on the table. So, that is 20. So 20 on the first action table is going to grant us the result of Combine, which is a very interesting start for sort of like a secret agent sort of inspired mission. Don't know where that fucking dice went. That is 60. Combine with the second table. Combine normal. Okay. Combine in this sense makes me think of like some sort of cybernetic sort of thing. Normal makes it think that it's sort of like low-key, make it like an escort mission. Or maybe this is a mission in 2 parts. I don't really know. Let's continue rolling and see what we're going to come up with. 11 is going to grant us Befriend. So this is probably an ally rather than an actual friend of ours, because we're doing this with somebody else. Like an ally to Section 9, like some government sort of, not agent, like politician sort of thing. Normal procedure. Anyway, let's roll the second table, see what we get. 81. Where the fuck are we? Befriend representative. Interesting. Okay, so I'm already beginning to get an idea, like 2 different political parties meeting, whatever, combine, like meeting together, normal procedure. Okay, we've got combining these words here to get like a sort of escort mission sort of thing. Okay, that's just sort of how Mythic works here. You just put words together, and with the context, you come up with things. It's much better than using generative AI. 77. Repair. Okay. Which makes me think there's something a bit of a conflict up in the air sort of thing. Like some bad blood sort of thing is what I'm trying to get at. And 15. Completion. Okay, I think we've got like a general idea of our mission here, the completion thing, that we have to stay around to make sure everything goes smoothly, that we are going to be accompanying this political representative with some other political representative, like maybe somebody from Japan, from somebody else in the world. I'm going to go with Uruguay for some reason. That's like the first thing that pops to mind, so also don't expect anything like cultures and accents and whatnot, because no. And we have to accompany this political representative, maybe like escort them to this place, protect them. We have to hang around to make sure that everything's alright, and obviously protect them until the end of the discussion, whatever that may well be. Which sort of gives us some sort of framework to be working with here. Now, this is supposed to be, well, it's implying to me like it's this low-key sort of political discussion sort of thing. So I don't think it would make much sense for us to be taking like huge massive rifles and whatnot, which actually makes me think a little bit. How lowbrow is expecting? Like, is it expected for things to blow up, or is it literally just an office boardroom sort of thing? And obviously, with the nature of this, there are going to be twists and turns here, and little things that may prevent this conversation actually happening, of course. The how lowbrow is, because obviously only so much is presented within the fiction of the original Ghost in the Shell manga, The Ghost in the Shell. We know there are other relations with other people in the world, like there's a bit with Russia, there's something that happens with the UK at one point. I might be a bit mistaken. That Russia, I definitely remember as an instance. But who knows? Is it expected for things to completely blow up? Like they're going to be like snipers and whatnot, just to make sure the shit doesn't hit the fan. How lowbrow is it going to be? What's the likelihood of this? Well, because I mentioned the boardroom thing, I think that's where the conversation's going to be held. So, like, having, like, snipers all around the place is unlikely, but of course there may be somebody in the adjacent building sort of thing, which might be well be there, because we're maybe with somebody else, like having to neutralise different targets or whatever. As I said, the way the hacking works is fairly straightforward. It's, like, not too complicated. It's basically, if you see it and within a certain distance, you can hack it, which I really like, honestly. But we'll talk more about the hacking as and when that arrives, and just general context in general. You see that I've moved the book over there now because I was running out of room and I had to stop because the dog decided they were going to drink out of the water, who's now currently sitting on my lap. You can see like a little bit of white there. Now, going back to Newport City and the fate chart shenanigans with Mythic, because that's going to be having to determining the likelihood of the question I want to ask. How heavily guarded is this going to be? We've already talked about the boardroom sort of thing. I imagine that there's going to be like some neutral ground where this meeting's going to be happening, so maybe like a boardroom's not a good idea. Maybe they make like some swanky restaurant hotel sort of thing, meeting for dinner, we're all standing around and whatever, and then they have the conversation proper. Maybe they go up to a hotel room or something. Well, we can probably determine that later on, just to see how sussy everything is, and depending on which side's actually booked the hotel. We'll get to that in a moment, actually, because I think that could be another fate thing, because that could also influence in like how things are going to turn. And obviously there's going to be some security there, and maybe there's going to be like other little snipers and whatnot, and we can use that to taking people out of hacking. So let us go to Mythic and ask the question with Chaos Side. I actually think it is very likely that it is not going to be heavily guarded. So in this instance, we're looking for no's. And in this particular instance, with Chaos Factor 5, we then come up to Mythic. Results between 15 and 75 is going to be a yes. 75 to 96 is going to be no. Higher than 96 is going to be an exceptional no. And below 15 is going to be an exceptional yes, which is like yes and no respectively, but exceptional. So let us roll on a D100, which I have accumulated properly, because I may end up picking 2 D10s or 100s or whatever. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. 93, so no, this is not going to be a heavily guarded thing. That we know of. That may obviously well change. So I'm obviously going to be leaning more into this like cafe idea. Without further ado, I think we can actually now get started with the actual play proper. Where would our character be? Now, thinking about the manga, there was all, because it's shown through Motoko's eyes quite a lot, who's really the protagonist of the Ghost in the Shell. She's always doing something before being pulled into the mission. Like trying to take some time off, or a bit of social stuff, or whatever that may well be. Like, it sets it up very much like your sort of like typical shonen Saturday cartoon sort of affair, and then being brought in or whatever for the investigation mission, whatever. So I'm going to take a bit of inspiration, a little bit from Blade Runner, because I think this fits rather well with the character, with how that film starts, sort of. Actually, no, yeah, it does start a little bit like this. I'm getting a bit sidetracked. So basically, I'm going to say it's like twilight, dinner time sort of time period. And Elizabeth's like sitting like some sort of like fast food sushi bar sort of thing. Just like mind your own business. It's probably going to be raining very heavily because you can't have a cyberpunk investigation sort of thing without heavy rain and an overcast. And she's just sitting there with these little pop noodles, like wearing a little jacket and whatever, being suited and booted, like being an agent or like undercover sort of thing, like wearing some sort of like fancy suit thing with her particular background might draw attention. So she's just sitting there minding her own business, just like in out of these noodles or whatever. And then she gets a little ping at the back of her head where she's now being spoken to by somebody of the team. Now, the TTRPG does mention that as we are a new recruit, we are going to be in direct contact with Battle. Whose name I probably butchered. I don't really fucking care. You know who I'm talking about here. So I imagine it's actually going to be him that's going to be giving us the mission. And the way that this works is the brain-to-brain communication. So it's either, I'm imagining actually that he's like at like the like Section 9 headquarters base sort of things, and like pushing a button like some big computer-based sort of thing. He's able to communicate with us directly, rather than him being in the area and pinning us that way. I think that'd just be a wee bit too creepy and a bit too like Blade Runner in this instance.
Adachi? Adachi, you can hear me, can't you?
Oh, Christ. Bato, you scared the jeebus out of me. I'm just trying to have my dinner.
There's no time for that. We've got a special mission in for you. It'll give you an opportunity to work your way up the section a little bit more and hopefully remove away some of the crimes you have in the process.
I'm hungry.
Well, walk and talk. Listen to me.
Okay, what is it?
There's an important meeting going on with MP Sojo Meguru. They're speaking with a representative from Uruguay. We're expecting some protection Things are meant to be on the low, but obviously we're not going to be expecting things to go that smoothly, of course. It is your job to go and collect them and stay around with them until the procedure is over. It is your responsibility to look after them and protect them. You understood your assignment?
Yeah, sure, I guess. Where is it that I need to go?
I'll pin you the coordinates, so get in your car, drive over, and if things get messy, be sure to pin us in and we'll provide backup. But not a moment too soon. We'll be sending some equipment for you to use for this. Obviously, on the low brow, don't expect anything too fancy.
With the mission signed, the dog's buggered off, I think we can now actually fill out the remaining part of our character sheet and work out what exactly we're going to be taking with us. Obviously going to be on the low brow, so coming in with like a fucking anti-tank rifle is going to be out of the ordinary. And I'm going to try and reserve some points because you never know, like things may get real fucking spicy and we may actually need to up the ante a little bit, but we don't actually have a lot to be working with here, honestly. So I would like to take... I'm looking at a combat knife, actually. Again, that subtle sort of thing, like, if we can't get to a pistol, it'd be nice to have a little bit of a backup, so I'm going to give myself a combat knife.
2 very boring minutes later.
Right, rather than going through everything bit by bit I was just choosing, I decided to do everything off camera, and also I've reacquired the dog. So, as I mentioned, I've got the combat knife, which is going to do D4 damage. I've got the pistol, which is going to do D6 damage. I've got a flashbang grenade. I know I said I was going to keep things on the low, but I was thinking, okay, things are going to go completely fucking pear-shaped. The thing I would want to do is completely disorient everyone, and then try and work out where things are, and then, like, maybe take people out hacking that way. As I imagine these government officials are going to have like some like tech inside them that's going to be able to intercept what I'm doing and whatnot, because unlike other cyberpunk settings, not a lot of people are going to be having some of this cyberpunk cybernetic gear stuff. So if we're dealing with government stuff and other agents and whatnot, that might just be a good idea to have something like that on my person. Although that being said, I couldn't really take anything else that allow me to see people, like infrared sort of thing, because from my understanding how it is, it'll be like a setup, like a little screen sort of thing, and in a combat scenario like that, that's not going to be very helpful. I have a disguised case for the weapon, so it just looks like a suitcase, and just like click on a button and these things just pop out or whatever. I'm not too sure. It looks official, and it's not going to set off alarms like, oh, you're expecting a fight sort of thing. That being said, I do have a field med kit, which is required for certain roles to do in case something goes pear-shaped. Got 2 lots of bandages and a surgical kit as well, which gives me a massive 2 points, if need be left over. So, without further ado now, and everything now decided, I think we should now actually get started with the game proper. As Elizabeth is... I don't think she's hurrying to her car, because she clearly does not want to be doing this. She's had a busy day already doing things, and she's trying to have some dinner. She has to sacrifice the noodles because I don't see her like walking and eating at the same time. Actually, just to be real silly about it, like, how flippant is she about this? Because one of the, like, a running joke across the manga is like everybody is wanting to get fucking time off and like not able to. So it actually fits rather well into the setting with this. So, yeah, I actually think that, is she eating and walking? I'm going to say it's nearly certain because I'm actually finding this rather funny. That is 77. Interesting. Nearly certain is a yes. However, because we rolled a double, this may result in us rolling a randoms event. If you roll a double digit and the number that is equal to or less, I believe it does something if it's higher, or is it only when it's less? Wait. Fate. No. Fate chart. Okay, so it's just if it's equal to or less than the chaos factor. Okay, so nothing bad happens here because our chaos factor is 5. Okay, so right, so systems down. Nothing bad happens as we're walking fairly casually, like eating our noodles and whatever. I don't think we're being watched at this point. Like, Batu has that communication with us, and then he cuts off. Is he actually watching us still? Given what I've just said, I actually think that is very unlikely because they choose the same thing again. So in this instance, very unlikely means that 25 to 5 would be a yes. That is 56, so no, he's not paying attention. Okay, cool, because I thought it was just a man like this comedic thing where he tells us to get a move on. So we're just sort of eating there, just eating our noodles and whatever. Just take it as thing, just signs, like worries me sort of thing. Now, I imagine she does have like a small car sort of thing. Does she have a car and motorbike? I think it'd be cool if she had a motorbike. And I'm not even going to roll for that. She's got a little motorbike. She's in a little thing. Maybe throwing something in a little bin or whatever. Maybe like a little droid thing, like road sweeper sort of thing, like picking things up. Does she throw it on the floor or throw it in a bin? Because she's got like sort of like stereotypical gamer cabin mind sort of thing, like making a mess of everything. I actually can imagine her being in a very messy environment, just how clean and pristine and like traditionally attractive that she may well be, especially in an anime sort of sense. But yeah, she lives like a fucking slob. So I'm going to say that is, again, nearly certain that she just fucking throws the thing on the floor. That is 70 exactly. So yeah, she's actually, it's a no. So that's putting it in a. So yes, it's between 70 and 85 for nearly certain as a yes. So yes, she actually does throw it on the floor, is what I was envisioning here. That was the question I was asking. And the little robot thing like stops on its thing, just beep, beep, beep. Just sweeps it up or whatever. And then she like gets onto a little motorbike, so it takes a little helmet and just puts it on her head, like putting the visor down or whatever. Where does she actually have to go to get off things? Because I didn't equipment and whatnot. Is it going to be like? Oh, imagine we've got on the bike. She's got to go somewhere for it. Like, is it like a drop in a specific location, or does she have to go back to headquarters for it? I don't know, if I'm being totally honest about that. Especially with the urgency level of it, like, they have to go and do this right now. I think that it's quite likely it's going to be like a fucking drop sort of thing. So, I'm going to go with 50-50, because I can't think of... Yeah, 50-50 makes that a bit more interesting. That is 7, so... That's an exceptional yes to that. It's under a drop thing. Which makes me think that not only we have to do it, but... when we arrive there, there's gonna be it's again some sort of a tension, like maybe some like just some rookie thieves or whatever that have just seen this thing drop down. They think they can get away with it, so we just drive to the little location, maybe like a little alleyway sort of thing, up against like these little grimy, muggy sort of buildings. We get on there. How many of these people are going to be there? I'm going to roll my special D3 to determine how many borders we've got there. 2. Perfect. So we get our eye and swing around with the bike. We're having a look around. We've seen these 2 people are looking around this case trying to work out what to do with it. And Elizabeth's going to take off her helmet and just like squint at them. And she's going to shout, "Hey, put that down." And I think this is going to require some sort of roll from us. A presence check. What sort of stats do these... Well, I'm not going to give any stats just a moment because they may actually work. Might not, though. Actually, no, let's do like a simple stat for them. So if we just come back a little bit in the book, I'm not going to show you the pages or anything, I'm just talking to myself here. Typical trait values: untrained human civilian, D6 a trained experienced human. Petty criminal, I'm going to say as a fair, like a D6 for this sort of thing. So this is going to be a contested roll against me against these petty criminals. So in this instance, I'm going to be rolling a D6. Now, do any of my skills come under this as well? Streetwise, maybe? If I word it a little bit better. She might be known. Doesn't look like a cop. Let's have a look at streetwise. What does streetwise actually allow me to get away with here? I'm imagining this is more like... I've just realised there isn't like a mental stat here under Ghost Shell and Cyberbrain. Anyway, let's have a look at streetwise. That might come under a particular skill, honestly. No, the city's underbelly, who to avoid, who to seek out for information, and where to get what you need. Understanding the language and customs of the streets. Used in the tests related to navigating the criminal underworld. Accessing black markets. Lying low. Finding people in urban areas and picking up rumours and hearsay. I don't think that quite qualifies, honestly. I won't do that. I don't think that's information based at this time. I'll be fair about it. So I'm going to roll 2d6. The blue one is going to represent Elizabeth, and this one is going to represent... I'll do a collective thing for these gangsters. So whoever's going to get the highest wins. Oh, and if I roll this, if either one of us rolls a 6, it explodes. If we roll a 1, it's a critical failure. And likewise for the other dice types, the highest number is going to explode. So if I was rolling a d8, 8 was going to explode. And to that end, I roll a fucking 6, they roll a fucking 3. So I'm going to just roll that again. That is another 6. Can we get 3 6s for our Lord and Saviour Lucifer? Darn it. That's 3. So 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 3 is 15. Fucking wowzers. So if we could just compare that to the difficulty thing, that would basically beyond ordinary limits. So I think this thing just dropped down, they were very stunned or whatever. I think in this instance that they're so fucking thrown by this, and they probably see us with a helmet in our hand and whatever. One of them definitely is going to fucking book it, but does the other one book it, or is he going to like try his luck or stand his ground? Because of how well we just rolled, I'm just going to say that it is unlikely, rather than very unlikely, because he has chosen to stand his ground after all. So let us roll for that, and with Mythic, that is a 92, so that is an exceptional no. I think he hesitates. We take a step forward, and they fucking book it as well. Yeah, okay, I was just thinking about whether I'm going to like doing some hack and try and get anything from them, but no, that they've done this sort of thing, it's just... Elizabeth's gonna like roll her eyes. Like, why is it always me that gets the fucking dirty jobs? Just so moaning away like this, sort of fitting in with the more solitude side of things. I suppose I could have rolled that in this instance as we're sort of working by ourselves. Although that would be fucking cheating because this is a fucking solo thing. Okay, so we're gonna go and collect the suitcase. I can't quite remember how this works or if it works like this at all. Obviously, we press the button, things are gonna pop out. We're not going to be doing that just yet. I think we're like connect it to like some sort of like carrier sort of thing on the motorbike, and we're just going to whiz away to the specified location. I imagine it's somewhere like some sort of government building sort of thing, embassy building, whatever. I don't really know, and quite frankly, I don't think it matters too much. Actually, it does matter. I'm going to roll Mythics at descriptor tables to see if we can get some sort of idea where we're picking them up from. So let us go with the descriptor tables back in Mythic. T100 rolling. That is a 38 on the first table, which is using my little pencil just to find what I'm looking for. I don't know why that helps me a bit more, but it just fucking does. That is freely. That is not good if we're going to go and fucking collect someone. I knew there was going to be a fucking complication in there, but let's see what we get for the other one. 90, which is smooth. 90 and smooth, which I'm going to interpret as casual. The idea I had immediately gotten that the representative isn't at the required location. Wasn't what we were looking for, but let's just roll again to see what sort of locale we're meant to be picking them up from. It's also good that they're not there because of casual reasons rather than being kidnapped. I hope. So a 12 is going to grant us carelessly, sort of feeding into the idea. So maybe he will... Okay, and maybe out in the open and whatever. So what's that, 92? Did we get 92 again? Strong. Okay. So I'm getting sport, open field sort of thing, like a sports centre sort of thing. And we're meant to be going and picking them up sort of thing after like, I don't know, strong open sport. Let's go with rugby. I don't know how big rugby would be in Japan, but we're going to go with rugby. So it's quite an oddly large sort of politician fella, and we sort of like arrived on the scene with our motorbike. Now realising that, have we been sent a car to go and pick them up, or we just expect them to take them as... I think it's nearly fucking certain that we would be expected to fucking take them in some form of car. Now making the assumption, of course, that Elizabeth can drive. She just prefers to drive around on a motorcycle, so let's roll that. That's going to be a... Before I read the number out, I'm going to treat this as a new sequence. We technically moved away from the gutters to this more sporty thing. So as we are in control with that, that chaos factor number is going to drop down to 4. I've historically gotten these numbers around the wrong way, but I now remember as the threat goes up, so does the number. The threat goes down, the number goes down as we're in control. So I'm going down to 4. So 62, I'm nearly certain, is... What was I fucking asking? Car, that was it. We've been sent a car. Which is probably like got some other like generic agents around or whatever. His own personnel, we're expected to chauffeur him around, this Soji Maguru fella. So yes, we've got our own car. With the other agent, we arrive with the motorbike, we take off the flip up the visor or whatever, we see like these, we recognise the sort of car build, whatever, like the agent suit, sunglasses sort of thing. These guys look exactly the same, because of course they do. And we step out, we've got the suitcase here. One of them's probably going to approach us because we're a little bit suspect. Does our wanted setback play into this? That would be spicy. That would be spicy indeed. I'm just going to do 50-50 here on the chaos factor of 4. 40. No, it does not. That's close, because the yes point would have been 35. So the approach is going to approach, got the suitcase, the jacket, and whatever, and then he's going to approach and said, I'm going to have to stop you right there. Who are you? What are you going to be doing here? I'm Elizabeth Adachi. I'm here with Sector 9. I'm supposed to be taking Soju Meguru for... He, like, puts up a hand to interrupt her. You got any ID? Like, flicks out, like, a little badge or whatever. I don't really know how that would work. This statement's not really talked about. He takes it. He has a look of it. Looks back up at her. He pulls her face. Hands it back. Yes? You're just, I wasn't really expecting somebody as young as you were. Oh, well. It's just the best among the best. She's just gonna fucking gloat her way through that. And I'm actually gonna do a roll that to see if he fucking buys that. And I'm going to put my deceptive rank into that. So that would be that and presence again. So that's how the way that this is going to work. This is going to be blue. Well, my blue dice, obviously. That's a D10. I can't fucking count. So the D6 representing the presence. The D4 is going to be representing our skill of deceptive, lying. I'm going to roll this against their dice of... Well, they're a trained individual. I don't think there's going to be much more to them in this instance. So D8 would be a hero human level or basic cheap cyber part. I'm going to go with D6 because I think, again, these are just like regular agents. Things they may like have... I don't know, something going on, but I don't think they're like above and beyond the call, as we're only being sent in here. So anyway, their D6 against our pool as we're up. That's how these skills work. So I'm going to roll myself first. And also with these combining the skills, we're going to take the higher number. Which actually works really well, because with the presence, with a D6, we rolled a 3. But with the skill, with a D4, we rolled a 4, which means it explodes. Nice. Okay, and that's a 1, which is only going to add 1 rather than take it away. So that's going to make that 5. So basically, they need to get a 5 or 6 to... I don't know what happens with a tie. I think they just need to get a 6, honestly. It's the only way they can beat this. 5. Okay, so I'll treat this as like a tie sort of thing. So it's like, oh, I'm just the best of the best. Like, not totally convinced by her. It's like, with the whole young sort of comment thing, I think he sort of admires her a bit more now, honestly. Like, she begins to walk away to go and collect him. He probably gestures somewhere off as he hands the ID back. He walks her off and he's sort of like looking at her behind her peachy ass. As this is anime sort of inspired, and this sort of like goes at a little like comedy sort of aspect on some aspect. Does she notice this? What were the difficulty? I'm going to say that this is hard, just because, you know, she's not fucking facing. She might have a feeling as disturbance in the force or whatever. This is actually now going to include my deceptive skill. So that's going to come into awareness. So a D6 and a D4 again for me, taking the higher result. Oh, that's interesting. They're both freeze. What happens if they're both freeze in this instance? I don't think there's anything in the rules that tell me if they tie. Regardless of how many dice you're rolling, always take the highest result rolled. It doesn't say anything they're both tied. Okay, so they're both free in this. Okay, so with the difficulty, I said it's going to be 6. No, she doesn't notice, so she's been really... And I think with that instance, like, we're going like fucking anime fucking dick teasing, like gooning sort of thing. They're wearing the sunglasses, like, So we move on to the football portray. Is the game finishing, or is the game still in full swing? Because one of the words we wrote was carelessly, which makes me think actually that the game is still ongoing, and if it being carelessly, maybe it's like somebody on the front row sort of thing. I don't follow rugby, like they're the one with the ball doing all the tackling and whatnot. So let's actually just say that it is very likely that the game is still ongoing. So we get the D100 shenanigans up and going again with Chaos Factor 4. That is 39. So yes, the game is still ongoing. So again, it's very like anime manga sort of site, keeping in line with like the 90s sort of thing. I imagine if we just zoom out from the scene a little bit, we've got like the scene with the Soju Meguru like tackling with the ball, like passing things like these massive displays and whatnot. We zoom back from the scene, the massive fucking chibi head sort of thing like popping out from the back sort of thing. And Elizabeth's like, "Excuse me, Meguru-chan! Hello!" Let's do a present. What would that be? A presence check, I think, is for the sort of thing that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to say that is hard, just because of the distance and all the different noise that's going on. I won't do a thing for him. I think I will actually do a thing for him. What would his dice pool be? Untrained human and civilian. Well, that's going to be a D4 for him to see whether he's going to be hearing that or not, like a contested roll sort of thing. What would be average is 4. So I think for him to hear us, it's going to actually no. Let's go for hard both ways because he's in the thick of it. We're a bit further away. So D6 for me and D4 for them. So let's use a different dice type so I don't get confused with shit. Okay, I rolled a 4, they rolled a 2. That makes no sense now because it means they can't hear me, but I can make them hear me. Okay, whatever. So anyway, we succeeded, so we were able to make ourselves heard. And I'm imagining like comedians sort of like put our heels, like dig through, like, and he sees us. Hello, and I maybe just as I look at the time. Oh, that's right. I'm at an important meeting. Sorry, fellas. Just punched it and just punched the fucking ball to Kingdom fucking Come. Now, if I was doing this for a group of players, this would be the moment where the individual is going to get shot at. So I'm now going to ask myself that very question, because again, feeding with the whole careless thing here. Does anything bad happen to MP Soji Meguru as he's coming towards us in his rugby uniform? I'm going to be as fair as I can with this and just go with a 50-50. Chaos factor 4. Where's my D10? D8. That is 45, which means... No, nothing bad happens. So he's just kind of sorting it on. And I'm just playing into the comedic hugeness of things. Like maybe like as he's to put an approach, like boom, boom, like dun, dun, dun. It's like looking up at him, sort of things. Like, and who, may I say, is you? I'm Elizabeth Adachi. I'm from Sector 9. Ah, yes, like clamping on the hand sort of thing. I've realised that this might be the wrong sort of mission for them because this is a terrorist sort of thing. Well, I suppose if anything goes bad, then they'll be dealing as terrorists. And they've done fucking escort missions like this before, maybe. I don't know. That's what we're going to go with here. And also, they can't all do the same fucking things all the time. Well, it can relate into terrorist-related things that go pear-shaped. So anyway, so massive, huge hand of a handshake. I shouldn't be focusing too much on the lore here. Just going through the flow, having fun with things. Massive handshake, boom, 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 boom. Right, just give me a few moments. I'll go get changed and wash myself up a little bit. You be a good little girl, just wait for me. Like, tuffles the head, like, gives the shake, just pops back into place. Like, men. Fucking men. To that end, I actually think in this instance, Elizabeth Adachi, as she's weighing out there the men's changing room as he's like fucking singing opera or whatever to himself, she's going to take the opportunity to have a look around for any security cameras around just to see if there's anybody suspicious on the premises that may look a bit sus. So I think we're going to do a little hacking thing. And as mentioned before, hacking, despite getting its own chapter, is really simple to do. It's basically like any other sort of test. Again, because we've got like the special, well, basically government, we have the top-end equipment. We don't have to connect up to it physically, although that is an option for a much better access. That's something that we can acquire. We have to do a roll against a certain barrier difficulty thing, which again, standard difficulty stuff, to basically have access. And then from my understanding, depending on the actual number that we roll, we'll have more control over things. So what would this be? I imagine as this is like imagine a regular football, like sports field sort of thing, not like a fancy sort of thing. Well, it probably is fancy, and you have to pay a bit more money to be in here, hence the fucking MP being here. But I don't think the security is going to be on par with that. Or is it though? Is the security at this playing field top notch, or is it just like standard stuff? I'm gonna go with 50-50. That is 100. Fuck. So that is an exceptional no. So no, it is not top notch. Which makes me think it's been compromised somewhat. Well, it's probably going to be like the cheapest fucking chip sort of thing, but we can deal with a compromise sort of thing. Has the security been compromised? I'm going to go with 50-50 again. Because it could just be that they're just fucking like cutting the fucking budget with the security here. That is 98, so that is, again, two lots of exceptional no's. So it's compromised. Was that the question I asked? It was. I think that was the question I asked. It's definitely the one I've got in my mind now. Has it been no, it's just real fucking cheap as shit. Like, maybe something's a bit fucking broken. So, to that end, I was just going to do the average of difficulty 4, but I'm now just going to do difficulty of 3. Actually, I'm going to be a bit cheeky with this, because we now established just how fucking piss poor things are. I'm actually going to upgrade my dice type, just to show how easy it is to fucking get in there from a D8 to a D10. So whilst it's going to up the chances of us getting in, it's also going to up the difficulty of us not getting in there as well, because the whole integer of dice rolls and things. So let us see what we get. Actually, before I do that, probably overkill, but I think either Tech Expert or Cybernetic Expert is going to... Actually, that's another point. We're using our eyes. Cybernetic stuff, that's going to up our thing already. So, okay, rewind that. I'm not going to upgrade the hacking because of what I just said. That's because that's going to be upped with the cyber senses of the eyes. But I may upgrade one of the skills, either Tech Expert or Cybernetic Expert, because to represent how fucking piss poor it is. I'm not too sure if you can Yeah, no, we'll see if we... It's my fucking game, we're upgrading the skills, I believe we can do this. But let's see which one's more appropriate, Cybernetic Expert or Tech Expert. I'm pretty sure it is Cybernetic Expert. They both require hacking. Cybernetic is used in tests related to hacking, installing and extracting cybernetic modifications, making direct cyberbrain connections, or ghost diving, navigating cyberspace in a projected body. That sounds like the one we're using. Diagnosis is for Tech Expert and use of repair. Use it. Tests related to hacking, identifying computer viruses, developing software, and searching the deep net. Okay, so it's not that. It's definitely Cybernetic Experts. Like that's the default hacking skill. So I'm going to up that from a D8 to a D10. So basically 2 lots of D10, which I don't even know why I'm fucking rolling at this point. So let's roll and see what we get. Take the high result. One was a 3. The other one was a fucking 10. Let's fucking go here. That was a 9, so 19. Yeah, we're basically slotting ourselves into that lubed up, stretched as wide arsehole. And because our testing out... our hacking test outcomes is 7 or better, let's see what it's going to do. I think with how well we fucking did, I think that's going to give us a couple of these effects. But I can't see anything of what happens if it explodes here. But as we did so fucking well and all the upgrades and things, I think we're just going to treat it like that. So I'm going to change this a little bit. Rather than having direct access to the cameras, I think we're going to go a step further and have actual access to the entire security mainframe. So whereas I originally envisioned like just like this open area, we've got the whole fucking premises under our control here. Now, because we're seeing all of this, we're going to be a little bit compromised from the external things, unless somebody walks right in front of us, like, sort of thing. Okay, so we've got the entire security now under our control for the time being, and because of how well we've rolled and how we've established how piss poor everything is, I do not think we're going to get fucking detected at all. So, the question is there anything suspicious happening at all? That's a bit vague, isn't it? But we don't really know what we're working with here, aren't we? Like, it can only be something suspicious. Is there anything suspicious in the premises? Because, of course, it's going to be some of the cameras are going to be pointing outwards. A lot of them are going to be pointing inwards. Like people driving in and out and things. But it's going to be in this, I'm imagining, quite a large sports complex. So, anything suspicious? I don't really know. So let's go with 50-50 and see what we're going to get here. If anything at all. Anything sussy-wussy. That is 26, so 50-50, chaos factor 4. Yes, there is something suspicious happening here. What exactly? Let's go to the action tables to see if we can drum up anything that maybe gear us in a particular direction, and also maybe be able to help us influence what exactly is going on. It could be the fucking changing rooms for all we know. And we also have to remember that with hacking, how quick this is, but the book makes a point that all of this is happening in real time, so it's not like with other cyberpunk games where being able to move quickly through hacking is as quick. Actually, that's more the communication side of things. Time is the same. It's not going to be sped up at all. I imagine with how well we roll with the hacking stuff, we're in very fucking quickly. And I imagine internally, Elizabeth Adachi is making some sort of comment there, and I moved the dice and didn't mean to. I read 99. That is usurp. That's not fucking good. And 23, usurp elements. I think there is somebody else here that is either like trying to take out the lights or the security. We've picked up that there's somebody else in the security system. That is why it's so piss poor that somebody has already ended and there's like somebody else here within the hacking mainframe security mainframe here. Do they detect us? You know what? I'm going to roll a d6. We don't know what we're dealing with at the moment, especially when we've already established just how easy it is. D6 for them. They are now going to be rolling against our barrier as we are very much the dominant force here. Oh, there's so many fucking questions here. Whoever is in here, do they know that this is us? You know what? I actually think in the narrative of things, it would make plenty of sense for them to think, oh shit, there is somebody else here, because... Okay, we just said that it was the reason why the security is so... No, it's not because it's compromised, it's because it was cheap fucking poor. So maybe... Actually, wipe all of that. I think it's interesting they think that there is somebody else here, that it's not being flagged by security, there's another hacker in here. So I'm going to say that it is... I'm pointing at nearly certain, and I was about to say very likely, but I'm going to stick with nearly certain. I know what my fucking finger tells me to do. That is 56. So yes, they know that we are in here. I think they're now going to like try and ride the system a little bit and try if they can hack into us. I'm getting fucking like third issue volume thing, like the digital avatar sort of thing, and everyone's fucking naked there. So this like nondescript individual at the moment they can see us as our avatar, and they see us swimming around like looking at them. They're gonna try now hack into us. So what we're gonna do here, they're gonna roll a d6. They're gonna be rolling against our barrier difficulty of 6. However, because of how easy we made basically able to fucking penetrate it through and how well we rolled previously, I'm actually going to bump that up to 8. I'm not going to do that with every instance of hacking in this space, unless of course I see it's appropriate, but I think just how we seem to be the dominant force here, we are going to be rolling on the D8 here. Now, before I do that, I actually want to see if our specialty skill, Counter Hacker, has any immediate effect to this. When a hacker fails to hack your cyber brain, it's literally just if they fail. So if they basically get a botched result, which for hacking is 4 or less, we can hack back immediately as a free action. And because we've got rank 2 in that dice then becomes upgraded, so that D8 becomes a D10. So let us roll on their D6 and see a wrong dice type. Well, colour really. It's a completely fucking unnecessary, but I like customizing my games recently with colour type. So let's roll a D6 and see what they get. Oh no! They rolled a... We were up in that, weren't we? To an 8. They need to get a 1 for this not to work. They got a 1. Okay, thank fucking Christ. a bit of fucking difficulty for James. They're going to try and push back a little bit. Okay, I think in this instance it doesn't quite work. We're clearly well versed in what's going on here. Like, there's probably some conversation going on. It's like, oh shit, you're not security. No fucking shit. So we're now going to attempt to hack back. Not because of the counter hack sort of thing. So we're going to roll them a standard difficulty. Actually, with our cybernetic expert skill, we're going to be doing 2 things requiring hacking. Yeah, that with everything that's going on at the moment, we're going to do the cybernetic expert with a D8. And us is going to be 2 D8s basically. We're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing that against their barrier. Ooh, what's that going to be? I'm just going to go with 6 as we don't... There's a trained human in the hacking sphere, so that's a D12. That's wrong. So, a D8. I'm going to do 2 D8s for myself, and then I'm going to do another one for the geezer here. We take the high result. It's a 2 and a 3, so we're going to have to do with that, unfortunately. Now I'm going to roll against... Oh, it's against their barrier, isn't it? It's 6. So that doesn't quite work through. So maybe if we're thinking like this sort of like nanobuzz sort of firing around, like it's not really working. Maybe there's a bit slippy or slopey, whatever. I'm going to use this opportunity in this instance just to communicate with the other agents. Of course, there are other agents here. Again, I imagine the brain-to-brain going on through here. Where will they be? I imagine that it would make sense that they're not in. Are they in the building or out the building? Let's do a fucking mythic thing to determine that. In or outside the sports complex? Let's do a D100 roll for that. 50-50. 99. That is an exceptional no. I was thinking it was likely they're going to be outside the building, so no, they're inside the building. Mythic thing we did previously, we know where they are. Okay, so let's just say they're in a fucking boiler room or whatever, and because of this, if hacking's going well, we use a moment just to talk to one of the agents who's got the whole fucking brain-to-brain thing going on, but I don't think we're like the same sort of like literal wavelength here. So I'm going to use this opportunity to see. I'm going to treat it as a hacking role, but it's not really hacking into them, just to like. They've probably got like some sort of like ping in the surface network or whatever. This dude in the boiler room or whatever, like trying to find the location of the agent, probably get all of his buddies and croonies along to come out. I'm going to treat this as a hacking thing and then the barrier of 6. However, I'm going to employ the the belonging aspect of the synthesis conflict, because this is like a belonging wanting to fit in and communicating with the agents or whatever. Like there's a bit of disconnect that we had at the beginning, so against their difficulty of 6, so for me that's going to be a D8. Where the fuck's that gone? There we are. And a D4. And the way that this is going to work is that if we succeed, we then strike that off as a temporary thing, which gets it a bit closer to having some sort of resolutionary sort of thing. I'll talk about the main mechanics as and when that comes, but I don't think it's going to be happening with this actual play. The highest result was the D8 with the 8. I'm going to ignore that one because the other one was a 7. I don't think it works like that, but that's what I'm going to be doing with it. So we may just to ping one of the agents that we were talking to, and because they know where that, like a little like a ping beacon sort of thing, and they turn to us and whatever. They see us standing by the toilets, whatever, just a bit glazed out or whatever, and we're talking to them. There's somebody here hiding in the boiler room, and I'm just like going to use like cyber shit and just like ping them the exact coordinates. Next question. I was actually about to ask whether they are privy to that conversation of the hacker, but they're not in us yet. So it's a very quick, they're here, go after them, like send whatever you've got to do after them. And I think one of the agents will just hurry along and find the location of the boiler room. The other one's going to try and accompany us because it's like his job to protect the fucking MP. To that end, they're going to try and hack us again with a difficulty of 6. I'm now going to downgrade my barrier here just because we are preoccupied. So that becomes a D4. So that's going to make us open for some other potential fuckery. But they rolled a 1. So that means they failed that particularly badly. That's a critical failure because of our skill. They fuck that up pretty badly. So we now immediately get to hack them back, but our dice is now upgraded. So that D8 becomes a D10. At their barrier difficulty, I think I said it was 6, so let's just roll. 10. Let's fucking go. 5, so that's 15, so that's again the plus 7. So basically, we can have full fucking control over them. And now we've established this brainwave communication. The other agent's going to be like popping in for the communication, like, what's the like maybe with a pistol or whatever running on. What's the situation with the hacker? One moment. They've just been neutralized. Now, I suspect they would want them alive because it's established in the law here. The ghost has a major cybercrime, i.e. just taking them out, can have profound consequences on the hacker themselves. The GM should definitely have a look at the potential effect on the psyche of the hacker if they were to go this far. Note that all effects in this chart, except for the bots, are available for the high... Okay, so I think it's like almost certain they would want them alive, but we have control over them if we wanted to. So I'm going to say that it is nearly certain that they would want this criminal alive. 28, yes, they want them alive. They'd keep them where they are. Keep an eye out for any others. We'll take it from here and interrogate. And Elizabeth, in response about that, will probably, again, leaning against the wall with the sort of like sly smile she had before hacking in, just like, oh, I have to get to play with tech stuff, would probably say something to the effect of, "Oh, I can do a step better than that," and she'll probably lead the hacker just like very childishly marionette sort of thing, like walking out there. I know the rules don't quite describe that, but I think with how well we did and just how shit all the mainframe stuff, yeah, I think that just works rather nicely. And I've just remembered need to go back a little bit and strike off a temporary thing for the aspect for belonging, and then the next time we do the table thing, when we move our way up the chain a little bit, and if that one gets filled up, we do the thing, and then that D6 gets crossed off as well. So that we're now, from my understanding, rolling that with a D6. Yes, we're now both rolling them with D6s rather than a D4 each, because obviously Solitude is a D. Anyway, they're both D6s now. So onto and back to the investigation. I imagine the narrative sort of thing, Sojourn McCool is all like washed up, so we then still hadn't found out whether there was something suspicious going on, but we're still looking around at security and whatnot. I'm presuming there's other people in here. I think at this point there's going to be people outside that we need to be mindful of. So, is there any other reinforcements outside? I'm going to say with a Finny 4, it is likely. Actually, I'll bump up a little bit to very likely. 70. No, there isn't. Okay, so maybe this person was just like a spy, and then other people just come across the sort of road sort of thing. And I think Elizabeth might just clock that a little bit, as she's just, I think at this shares the information to the other agents and then disconnects, and if she does so, this is when Meguru comes out of the shower, like, or whatever, the old brush, old suit and boot and whatever. And I think a real childish sort of thing, like anime, sort of like he's rather slim now, his suit is containing his muscles with his burly moustache or whatever. It's like, so if I kept you waiting long? Oh, nothing you need to worry about. Just a spy in the boiler room. Oh, that's jolly good then. What? We're not safe here. We need to wait for your agents to come back. The other agent will then hear from his other buddy, some way, somehow, about any information, perhaps finding out the same information that we just did. We need to ask the question now, is this connected to this Uruguay meeting? I mean, it would make sense, wouldn't it? I'd say it's likely, but you never know. It could be something else entirely, because, he's a government official, so who fucking knows? So let's roll a thing here. That is 94. Is this related to the Uruguay lot? No. It is not. Is it connected directly? Because it could be like some fucking crooks, right? Who have been hired by the Uruguay representatives. So yeah, let's roll. 1. That is an exceptional yes. So these are like assassins or whatever hired by Uruguay. Wow, a 1. Wowzers. Goes and beyond your expectation. So they're brought in, we then find out what's going on, put Meguru in the car, interrogate the individual. He's I think he's more or less frightened about how good as a hacker that we are. He thought it was like the two agents, I'm telling you fucking nothing. And then we arrive, I'm the one who scrambled your brains, right, and brought you out here. The things I found out about you, she lies. I'm going to see if he buys that or not, actually, because we know at some point he's going to cough up the information. So, again, we're just going to do this, a pool of 6 just to represent his presence. I'm going to use my tech expert, actually. Yeah, because I think she's going to start talking about the security and maybe other bits and pieces I've got no knowledge about. Has this to do with like computer skills? We did have access to the full security at that point as well. So yeah, I'm going to put my tech expert here as well, combined with present. So D6 plus 2D6. So I'll do myself first. That's interesting. We've got a 6 and a 1. Doesn't say about anything cancelling them out. So I think I'm going to treat it as... It wouldn't be fair in that instance if one's got a crit and the other one was a botch, a critical fail, right? Okay, it's we have conflicting information with the rules. The exploding dice, when using exploding dice, your result cannot get any worse at any stage, even if you roll lower than the original result with a larger die. And you keep rolling the exploding dice number. But critical failure, if all of your dice roll to show the... I can't fucking read. If all the dice... Okay, so in that case, that one is not a critical, so that we then take that 6 as exploding. That's how I'm reading that. So 6, 12... 14, right, okay, so yeah, this guy's... We are doing so fucking well here. I've probably just jinxed that, but Jesus Christ. Like, I usually do really badly with the solo stuff, but yeah, that's so cool! We talk our fucking ass off. Maybe he's like being a bit sexist. Oh, yeah, no, it fucking weren't. Like, what are you, the fucking cleaner? And then we give him all the information. It's like, duh! His jaw, like, hits the floor sort of thing. It's like... Oh shit! I'll tell you everything, and like he completely blurts out that he was hired by the Uruguay, blah blah blah. Because of what I've just said here, how well we've done. I didn't even fucking roll for him, did I? Let's roll a fucking dice. Rolls a 5, yeah, that didn't fucking stand a chance. he blurts all this fucking shit out. I imagine it's going to lead into some fucking hit that these other assassins around the building, whatever. We're going to say it's going to go in that general direction now. Which begs the question, is the meeting going to be called off, or is it going to go ahead and it's now becoming a bit more of a violent situation? Part of me thinks that the way that we've played Meguro is a very pomp and circumstance, sort of proud sort of individual. There's a part of me that thinks that actually he would want it to go ahead. Oh, it's nothing that the government can't handle. Japan, the greatest country in the world, sort of thing, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's the direction that we're going to go in. But then we can do other rolls and see if we can dissuade him from doing this, because this is a real fucking dangerous situation now. So yeah, let's do... is it going to be called off? I'm going to go with likely... Yeah, very likely. That is 14, which is a yes. It is going to be called off. Like Meguro is like completely outraged by this, blah 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 blah. But then that begs the question of dealing with well, the hit at this cafe. They're expecting to arrive there. So it then I think with this conversations going on and the agents like trying to arrest him and getting more information, Elizabeth is going to take a little step backwards and get in touch with Bato again. Bato? Hello there. You come in, can you hear me?
Yeah, hear you loud and clear, Dutchy. What's going on there? You're running behind schedule.
Well, there's been a little bit of a complication at the sports centre. It turns out the Uruguay representatives have sent assassins over.
What? Is everyone alright? Have you dealt with it?
Yeah, it's fine. The security of the system is so weak.
I don't want to hear your little special interest here. Is the MP okay?
Yes, he's totally fine. He's rather flabbergasted that we've now had to cancel the meeting for his safety. What do you want to do about the situation? Because they're all set up in the cafe, in the restaurant, or wherever it is you said they were going. They're going to be expecting us. Because this now brings up a conflict of interest of the brief here, because our original brief was that we have to stay with Soju Meguro until all of this has been sorted out, but the circumstances have changed, so it's actually quite likely that the agents would want to take him out and then we have to go off and do our own thing, or we get called back, or whatever. Or it could be the other way round, that they go off and do the things of like other government officials and we fulfill the duty here. Like they were just there for the extra security for the thing. Like if they go off in the car to think, okay, things are very normal, whatever, they don't know of anything that's going on, going things as planned, etc. and so forth. Then again, us being there might not be a good idea. Or maybe other people will be going on. Well, we could determine that with the dice roll. So, Chaos Factor 5, I'm going to treat this as 50-50. Yes, it's us that's going to be going off to his place or somewhere nondescript. So let's just see what that's going to grant us. That is 4. That is an exceptional yes. So, I think in this instance is that not only are we going off with them, but someone is going to insist. I mean, we're talking to Bato at the moment, so obviously he is going to insist. Okay, I think that's just how it's going to be. Like Bato like doubles down saying no, like you are the one that has to go off with him. It's part of the brief and whatever. We will relay that information back to the agents. All the stuff I was just talking about, like trying to set things up as normal as possible. We go off one way, they go off another way. I think they're quite reluctant in wanting this to happen because, you know, different sections and whatnot, but this is now a terrorist situation. This has now been taken out of their hands. This is now properly a Section 9 matter. So, we came in on our bike, so things are going to get pretty risky. We relay the information back to Sojo Meguru. He's a bit, I'm not sure about that, like on the motorbike sort of thing. And if there's like a fucking chase sequence or whatever, it's like, I'm so scared, whatever. So, without further ado, I think that's going to move us on to the next scene where our Chaos Factor, because we've pretty much been in control there all the way through, is going to drop down to 3, which also means that the answers are getting slimmer and slimmer. So, the car's going to go off in one way, us is going to go off another way. We imagine like a top-down, like a camera angle thing. You see the car go off one way and the camera moves us as we go off on another way. And I just realised, because I forgot about this a moment ago, with Mythic, when you move from scene to scene, you're supposed to roll to see if you get a random event. And I can't remember how that's done, because I just realised I haven't actually done this for a while. I mean, I might have been missing that step out entirely. So, I believe with this... testing the scene is the whole mechanic. Roll a d10, and the expected scene is the Chaos Factor or less, and the number is odd, then the scene is altered. If it's Chaos Factor or less and is evens, it's an interrupted scene. Right, so let's roll a d10 and see what we get. And also, this is a pretty narratively appropriate thing to fucking hit us in the face. That is a 9. That is above the Chaos Factor by a significant amount. So things are going to go as expected, or at least it's not going to get altered or interrupted in that sense. But we established earlier on in the fiction there's going to be other people around who are going to be following us. We are pretty exposed on the fucking motorbike here. Probably waiting a bit of a delay here because their port of call has been taken out here. So we may have to wait around. So they don't... Basically, these assassins or whatever don't have access to the security anymore. And I'm not going to hat back in and to watch people. That's because we need to get on the move. So I think narratively makes sense. Like, the decoy car goes off first. And then we wait a little bit. We see like other vehicles are going off with them. Not mentioning anything to Sojo. He's like making a bit of a fuss. And I've been clearly kind of frightened or whatever. Okay, we now need to move. Like, he gets on the bike holding tight. Like, he squeezes a bit tight, perhaps a bit too tight for her liking, for more than one reason. And we're going to get on a move. Now, are we going to get followed by someone? I think it obviously makes sense that we're going to get stalked or followed, because I don't think they'll be that stupid, but you never know, So Chaos Factor 3, I'm going to say that it's very likely that we're being followed, so 10 to 50, yeah. That is a 3. So that is an exceptional yes that we are being followed. So not only... I was expecting like a car and motorcycle, but I think this is now gone to the fucking extreme end of things. Or there's like a lot of them. How do I interpret this? Let's use the descriptor tables as we seem to be hip-hopping between... flip-flopping, sorry, between the two... Mythic main tables. There are loads of other tables in this book, but I tend to use the meaning and descriptor ones the most. So let's use descriptor table 1. 28 is going to give us the result of... I can't fucking find it. Of energetically. I'm not liking that result at all. Descriptor table number 2 is 91 soft. Energetically soft. Okay, so it's not like some big fucking spider tank thing. Soft can be interpreted like a size sort of thing. So maybe not like cars, but like motorcycles, probably. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like little two motorbikes either side, one of us, like two different guns or whatever. Yeah, okay, I think that's how we're going to be doing it here. And also, the next question is, how do we notice that we're being followed? And obviously, if they don't, they're going to take the shot at us first. That's how we would do initiative in this particular instance. I think so. A presence and perceptive, I think, is going to work. And because we're using our cybernetic eyes, that presence is going to be bumped up to a D8. So that's going to be a D8 and a D4. That's, I didn't check the fucking difficulty for that. Well, their motorbikes have wings mirrors on them, do they? Yeah, they've got little dinky ones. Yeah, of course they do. So I'd say this is average 4. The highest one is on the D4, which is the 4, the other one was a 2, so, and I rolled a D fucking 10 by mistake, because I'm a fucking muppet, whatever. Well, anyway, it's a 4, we got the thing that we wanted anyway, so we do notice, like, moving along, camera shot, looking down, we see the bikes appear on either side. There's some holding on the motorbike, a sort of thing. Meguru-san? Meguru-sensei? Hold on. This is going to be a bumpy ride. And we just sort of like jeer away like that. Obviously the bikes are going to give chase. We're going to do with initiative here now. Obviously turning with our fucking pistol and firing back or whatever. Now, this is also a bit more spicy because we've actually got the fucking MP on our person now. Literally holding on for fucking dear life. Let's see how initiative works. I think it's literally just... It's rolling our reflexes, I seem to recall. Roll for turn order. Each player makes a reflex test. So we're going to be rolling a reflex. This was a D6. I have a little things on the side here. I'm just going to like play up the fiction a little bit. That we press a little button, like a weapon shoots out, and we can go and grab it or whatever. Or it like slides into place rather than like having to make a separate roll to catch it or whatever. So one thing at a time. It's going to be 2 sets of D6s. I think just trained individuals. I'm not seeing them as anything particularly more than that. Does dexterous, I wonder, play into this, as that seems to be a skill of ours. I was thinking when I put that together, dexterous is like making machines and tinkering things out rather than being particularly agile. Dexterous, deftness, ability to use quick with hands, used in tests relating to pickpocketing, sleight of hand, tampering without leaving a trace, and other complex handiwork. That's exactly why I chose. Okay, so it's got nothing to do with intricacy here, so this is just a straight up test, a reflex test. So let's see what we get. Oh, that is disgusting. They got a 5, I got a 3, so they're going to be moving first. Now, they're on motorbikes, moving in. It was an exceptional yes to being followed by them, or something. There was something relating to them that was an exceptional yes. So it was before we decided it was before we decided it was the motorbikes. I thought it was going to be a really OTT sort of thing. I'm now going to employ that element of things. They've got assault rifles or like machine gun sort of thing. So I'm just going to scroll through and see what I think it doesn't. There isn't a machine gun thing. It's just rifle. Oh, the standard semi-automatic rifle was perhaps okay. Not minigun, pistol. Okay, so rifle that does D8 damage. We've got an assault rifle here. We do not have an assault rifle. We've just got the pistol to be working with. Shit. We can see if they've got anything that we can hack into. Well, the assassins probably do. They've been hired by the government at best. They've got the best of the best of tech and whatnot. I think it makes sense that they've got like some sort of like fucking plant in their head or whatever. Yeah, so okay, so they've got me machine guns. That's going to be doing D8 damage. I imagine the fixture thing, the one's going to like drive up towards us and going to be shooting us with the whole fucking thing. We're going to be rolling our reflexes to dodge out of the way. Now, with weapons, do I roll on their D8, or is that literally just the number of damage that they're doing? Let's see what the fucking combat rules are. Now, I should mention here that the way that combat is visualized in this is that it's all done with zones. So zone 1 is like in the same space as us, so the one who's just roving up to the front of us, they're able to like to catch up with us in their turn because they can move and they can fire. Zone 2 is like the person behind us. Zone 1 is where we are, and depending on how well we do, we might be able to lose them or whatever. I was thinking about hacking them, but we're fucking immobile when that happens, so yeah, it's not quite the quick hacks of Cyberpunk 2077. The close quarters attack, you to die for muscle plus any dice. For range attack, it's reflexes. Okay, it doesn't apply with the NPCs, but I will need to know this when I grab my pistol and start bopping away. So, they are going to be rolling... Well, we decided it was a D6. It's going to be, I guess, against us to dodge out the way. Dexterous does not work here. No, it's not, because I was... Streetwise might do, though, because we've established already that we sort of know the streets a little bit, and we want to go, like, different, like, back alley sort of thing to try and get away from them. Not into the city's underbelly. Oh, that works. Finding people... Laying low. Yeah, I'm going to try that with the under... Okay, I'm going to do that with the skill thing here. So, they're going to be rolling a D6. I'm going to be doing it with a D4 then a D6. So 2d6 for me, so I'm going to do it for them first, for their reflexes. Bop, 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 they got 2. So against us, that's going to be a 2d6. We've got 2. 3 and a 2, so we're able just to swerve out of the way as they open fire with the machine gun. Muguru like, holding on for his dealer, who just takes swerve into a dark back alleyway sort of thing, just charging through the streets, maybe like this little shantytown market sort of thing, all grimy and gritty and whatever. The bikers are obviously going to try and like catch up to us sort of thing. I'm not going to say they crash or anything because they didn't botch the roll, which I think will end up happening depending on the circumstance. Okay, so what are we going to be doing? I am going to driving away a little bit. We're obviously going to try and take them out a little bit. So we've established it's a straight line. We've got a pistol out of the flashbang. We've got a fucking flashbang. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab the flashbang out of the briefcase thing. And grenades have their own sort of effect. Now, I believe it affects the different zones that we're in. So it's actually going to... Are they considered... I'm visualizing that as we've made that turn, they're either going to be behind us, like within the same zone, or like zone 2, like back on the road sort of thing. Let's do a mythic roll to determine like how far back are we, because I mean, as we didn't roll we didn't crit or anything, so I'm actually just going to say that it's 50-50. Like, are they in the same zone as us? And yes, obviously they will be in the same zone as us. So, D100 roll. That is 14, that's my lucky number. Chaos factor 3. Yes, they're in the same zone, so that's not actually the thing that we looked for. Okay, let's have a look at the grenade options. When firing or throwing a grenade or explosive, roll to hit as normal against the intended target, so I'm presuming that's reflexes. It's very careless because there's other people around, but you know, we need to get these fucking chuckles fucks off me, just like... I was just thinking pulling at the thing, but like... We can't do that, can we? Because... it's going to require a pin or something, like, and we're wearing the fucking visor. I don't know the design of the flashbang, so... You know what, because I like that idea. I'm just going to say it's like a fucking button and just throw it behind the sort of around the whole fucking pin sort of thing. So I'm just going to say in this instance, it's a fucking button because it's a cool idea. I like it. It's really fucking action-packed. So it's a reflex thing, I think, so just to yeet that fucking behind us. Those two, I think, are like really close together, so they're going to be considered in close combat because that's what it's saying is going to... what these affect. These characters are in close proximity. As there's a flashbang, it's not going to be dealing with any fucking body parts here. So my reflex here, I've just realised maybe I could treat it as like a little pin or flick or something, because dexterous definitely applies to the light finger working, especially like the one-handed sort of thing on the bike. Oh, that's a good point. Well, we've got the D4 with dexterous, but I'm going to bump that reflexes down to a D4 as well because we're multitasking here. I'm looking at my character sheet a bit more. I'm going to be a little cheeky and add in a D6 for Solitude as well, because we're very much on our own here. Like, he's fucking screaming behind us, so we want to... Maybe the Solitude could be playing like trying to desperately get them off our fucking back things. The way I'm interpreting this with the invoking portion on page 25 using Synthesis Conflict, invoke before a roll to add a dice to your pool for that roll. The dice size to equal to the current level of that aspect of the synthesis. If successful, increase by 1 point. So the way I'm actually interpreting this, I'm actually going to be rolling 3 sets of dice that you're adding that on top to it. So we've got the skill with dexterous with fiddling with the grenade, reflexes that's running behind us, but because we're doing it multitasking with the bike and the grenade sort of thing, a very quick just rip behind us, that's going to be a D4, but we're going to be adding the D6 for the conflict, and if the roll is successful, increase the gauge aspect by 1 point, which will take that up to the D8 from my understanding of things. Yes, it is, because it's sort of a D6 and a D... Okay, yeah. So let's roll the 3 dice here. The aspect in itself was a 6. The other 2 were 2s, which is very interesting. So 6, 4, 10. Right. So we'll take the highest number, of course. Before I forget, again, that's now going to become a D8. I think this is just sort of the scream of the bike or whatever. We just sort of like make the quick calculations in my head. I suppose logical could have worked for you as well, but whatever. Make the little calculations like we're sort of locked in procedure sort of thing. Knowing that we're not going to come, no one's coming out to help us. There's again having to do everything by ourselves. Just click, flick, thrown behind us. These bikers are in close proximity. What does happen here? I think because the way that it's written, they actually crash because it says they're fucking immobilized. Single use, so we've now used our flashbang grenade. I'm going to remove that from my character sheet here. Single use targets downgrade reflexes and awareness test of the next D4 round. Also, unless they succeed a difficulty muscle / resilient test, they are immobilized and lose their next action. I think if that's the case, they're going to fucking crash and just die. So I'm going to make, there's 2 of them, so I'm going to do 2 separate D6 rolls, because one of them might turn out alright and the chase may still carry on. So, I'll just roll here. A difficulty 6, okay, well that's high. One of them got a 5, they crash. Another one got a 6, yeah, so 7. So I imagine, I think it's like the one that's right at the front that gets the full whack of it, like, rah, there's a smash and crash into the wall, and through the smoke and the light and whatever, they just fucking charge through. Now, I need to make a D4 roll to see how many rounds it's going to affect them, because this is going to downgrade their reflexes and awareness, i.e. that D6 is going to become a D4 for 2 rounds. Okay, so we turns away, they moves away, and we're sort of going with the action here. It's not too rigid, as you'll find with a lot of games here, so it's now their turn, and they're going to be shooting at us. Rather specifically, they're going to be shooting in the back of Sojo Meguro MP. So we're going to treat with our reflexes with the D6 here. So they've got a D4, we've got a D6. I got a 6, they got a fucking 4. Let's go again. That takes us to 9. So again, we're just able to move away as the bullets just sort of like fly down the street, sort of thing. In the order of things, it's now Maguru's turn. He's not doing anything. He can't. He's just holding on to dear life. So we're going to sort of remove him from the equation, unless for whatever reason he comes off or falls off the bike or something like that. So it's back to us again. We're sort of like driving along this sort of like it now moves onto a market sort of thing. Maybe the same fucking market that happens in the manga. If you know, you know. People like quickly moving out of the way. It's just like, just fucking move. So that's back to the top of the round again. So this is where their thing starts proper, I think. Yeah. We'll say it's this because this is the first. No, this is the first round, so this is the second round as well. So, what we're going to do, moving around all the different busy people, we've just established getting the pistol out would be stupid. So we are going to try and cut them off and lose them and get them to fucking Maguru to fucking safety. So this is, I think, just going to be reflexes with the bike, using our knowledge with our streetwise to try and get out as soon as fucking possible. And obviously, I'm going to roll a reflex for them as like a contest sort of thing to see if they can keep up. So for me, that's going to be D6 and a D4. Yes, good. So that 4, that's the highest number, and they are going to be running a D4 because we dropped their reflexes down because it's been downgraded. Oh, that's a 4. It doesn't mention ties here, so I'm treating this as a fucking stalemate of sorts, so maybe we're unable to go down the route that we wanted to, which means that they're still keeping up by default, which is frustrating. So it's now back to their turn. Did this person who's shooting at us, who is shooting us, are they the one with the machine gun? No, we're going to treat it fair, they both got like rifles. I think in this instance with their... I'm remembering that we can move twice. Because we can't attack, we can move twice. I should have done that earlier on, but then again, we were moving constantly, and then we're through. So I'm going to try and move them again, I think, as we moved out of a little bit. Difficulty, I'm not going to up the difficulty, of course, because we know the streets, we've got that skill that helps us out with that. Same sort of roll, I think, D6 and a D4. 3 and a 2, that's not great. There, D4, it's going to be a 4. Fuck, that explodes. Oh, that's rude, that's 8. 9. Okay, so I think in that instance that we didn't fail because we succeeded. That roll wasn't a botch or anything, but because of like all the different swerves, like moving around and whatever, and things open up a bit more, and with how well they did, that's going to allow them to move back up to us. So now it's their turn. They're going to take in that fucking shot at us. So let us roll for them. Now they are still rolling on a D4 for their reflexes. So let's do that. Oh fuck you, that's a 4. My dice as well, 7. Okay. Reflexes. We're still trying to get out of the way and like try and cut them off and using the streets to advance to get them away. So we're still going to be using streetwise and reflexes here. So What did I get for them? That was they had a 7. That was it. They had 7. So let's see what we get here. To move away. Oh, got a 6. Got a 5. Thank Jesus. That's 11. So they're taking this shot at us. We take another route. It's like, that's now the end of the second turn, I think, because again, Majuru is not doing anything here. We're just removing them from the equation here. Oh god, and it moves up into the city a little thing. Okay, in the narrative, I'm going to stick with the narrative a little bit. You know, it wasn't like when they caught up with us, like two crypts on top of each other, so I think they're still roughly within the same sort of space. So I think at this point we're now close enough within the same zone to use our pistol. So I'm going to use reflexes here. You see, I'm gonna have to downgrade that, because if I was doing with a player on a motorbike, they're turning around, their attention's divided, so I'm gonna have to fucking downgrade that to a D4, which means they're gonna do it at a D6. That's not very nice at all. What are they gonna get? Oh, they got a 2 and I got a 4. Fucking A! That's gonna take us to 6. Now we need to come further into the book, or back into the book. I'm looking at the weapons. The pistol does D6. We have to see. Then I don't think they're going to be wearing any armor. I think they've got like a leather jacket on there. There isn't really mentioning, like, armor is like proper armor. It's not like, oh, I've just realised the roll to hit modifiers, I should have done that as a +2 difficulty. It's a fast moving target. Well, it's a contest thing anyway, so I don't think that accounts too much. Like if we're standing still and they're moving out of the way. Alright, I'll remember that for the next time all the way through this. I can't recall. I think armor is like proper, like armor. The leather jacket, it's not counting. We're not going to be counting that. I think it's going to go back to where the fucking combat was. Okay, so I've gone fucking past it. Come on, help me out here. So what we're going to be doing now, we're going to be rolling for damage. They've got no armor, so they're not going to be like making any rolls in defense against that. So this is a D6 damage. Okay, I've been calling crits wrong because it's actually when the number is double the difficulty level. Or it's happened a couple of times. It's not when the dice explodes. The dice explodes and the dice explodes, right? That's not the critical thing. So with critical damages, which isn't the case here, that's actually not appropriate here. So guys, I've been misinterpreting things. So we roll for damage, and then we roll on a d20 to see where on them it's going to hit. They've only got 2 head points. Might have to look later in the book to see what we do here. So I'm going to roll a d6 here. That is 3 damage to... I could be using my fucking Fallout dice for this one, but no, I'm going to treat this as fairly. So it's 3 damage to... That is a 19. The head or neck. So how does that work? Locations that have 1 or more dots crossed out are injured. When a location is injured, damage in the case of vehicles, penalties on the following page apply. And the example is actually the same example, but with it has a cross and a line next to it. The head location sustained 3 points of damage, it is now injured. And a head or neck is now injured, they're knocked unconscious. And if they're knocked unconscious on a fucking motorcycle in a fucking highway, they veer off and they crash and they fucking die. So, back to the combat dealt with. So yeah, I think at this point it was sort of like driving them to like the hotel room or whatever. That's not their hotel, like their room or whatever. We're going to be sitting with them for a little bit. I'm going to do a Mythic thing to see if we get any other surprises at the embassy building or whatever it may well be. I think this is incredibly unlikely. Using the exact wordage there. Well, there's very unlikely and then there's nearly impossible, which a yes in this instance is 1 to 5. But we've had some no numbers so far, so this could actually be one of those instances. So let's just see what we're going to get here. That is 21, so yeah, that is a no. There are no other surprises there. Obviously, this has all been done before. We're sitting there waiting there for ages. Maguru is probably talking our ear off about this, that, and the other. In traditional anime format, he's probably been a bit of a perv as well, making some comments like, and then at some point, we get the okay that everything's been taken care of and come back to base or whatever, and then we can go and have the rest of our evening with our pot noodles until the next time. And we would get awarded a certain number of requisition points for the next mission we do, which means that we can get more weapons and whatnot in the future for our future missions. And in fact, I'm actually just going to find out what this is. Oh, there's also experience points as well. I think this actually serves as our... Actually, I don't know. Actually, let's have a look at experience points. I don't actually remember. I know, experience point. This is all in the GM chapter, I think. I vaguely remember seeing the experience points like the right-hand side of the book. That's the mission that we haven't done. I'm not going to do. Generally, PCs will be rewarded when the successful completion of a mission, particularly if they don't cause Chief Aramaki any trouble in the process. I think there would have been a bit of trouble because, you know, there's been crashes of fucking flashbang grenade in the middle of a fucking market. If they acted outside of orders or led to Aramaki having to smooth things over with the powerful friends, they are less likely to be rewarded. In general, the team's requisition goes up by 2, so it would be 12 to 14. I'll do a nice little middle ground and say 13. There's a bit of a slap on the wrist there, especially with the collateral damage of the spies or whatever. Yeah, I think 13 will be fair here, so just 1 point. They may increase the value of one of the traits by 1 step, for example, from D6 to D8. If they choose to increase their barrier, value raises by 2. Note that the muscle and reflexes traits can only be improved up to the maximum of D8, augmented, may increase in the rank. So basically we can increase the ranks of our skills and things by bit, which I'm not going to go through, but it's just nice to know what that would have been. I think with Elizabeth being who she is, she'd probably want to increase her hacking up to 10. Just to be the best that she can, and maybe do something with her skills or whatever, maybe find a bit more control of a motorbike or take some gun practice or whatever. But yeah, that is solo play with Ghost in the Shell. Really straightforward system. There's a little bit of rule mishaps. I got things wrong, but then again, that's just the nature of any fucking TTRPG. I'm going to get things wrong. You're going to get things wrong as well. Really simple system, and as you can see, there has been no prep with this. All I have done is been using some common sense with the book, and obviously an oracle to help me out with some of the direction things. Obviously, this was the whole basis on which the adventure was formed around, and all of the decision making, all the important decision making at least. And we literally just used, the standard dice spread that's presented in one of these pages to basically determine what our NPCs are going to be using. Okay, we used the same dice type all the way out, but we could have used something a bit greater if the situation were called for it. So you can come up with NPCs like that. You've got all your fucking dice to be playing the game with your character anyway, so there's no reason why you cannot solo the Ghost in the Shell. And I was kind of a little worried with something that was going to be so combat focused. Okay, I'm going to have like a buddy to help me out with sort of thing. Kind of the reason why I brought the agents into that, but it kind of made sense that, you know, they would have, the MP would have like protection, whatnot. You know, I'm expecting that to go in that direction, but no, it was just, yeah, we didn't need it. It worked really well in our favour, and for some fucking good some reason, we managed to succeed in protecting the MP. We've got a bit more requisition. It was a bit of a sloppy mess. We caused a bit of collateral damage. Yeah. That was it. Really simple TTRPG to play in a group and do solo. I've now demonstrated this, the first person, probably, on YouTube to do a solo play of the brand new Ghost in the Shell TTRPG, which I don't have the physical book yet, but I will do future videos when I get hold of the physical book, like my usual how to run this TTRPG. And I think it'll be nice after doing some solo play and like running things that other people like, being able to come back and like, what's it been like to be run it now with the book in my hands? Because unlike other review copies, this appears to be like the full game. It's not like a review or an advanced copy where modifications may happen. This appears to be the full game, because with the backer kit thing, which you have seen if you've backed it with following the review, I've talked about it, or any other means you've heard about the TTRPG. Once the backer kit was complete, everybody got a copy of the PDF, so my understanding that everything is pretty much complete here. So yeah, as I keep saying, really simple to play, really simple to solo play. I have not played this TTRPG before. This was the first one of the 4 cherries that we popped here today. And I can't wait to do more. I actually really want to carry on exploring Elizabeth's adventure. Like, how is she going to find a place to belong, and the whole solitude sort of aspect thing. And we didn't actually use any of the fucking ghosts. I'm always forgetting about fucking luck points of solo play. Honestly, I don't think it was really needed because of how well in control we were. And I also just kind of like just the failing forward aspect things. Yeah, the hacker didn't, they nearly got into us, but you know, that creates some fun little spice. I want to play this game more. I'm tapping the book here because Mythic, but I really want to play more of this. And if you want more Ghost in the Shell TTRPG content, or maybe you want to see what we do with Elizabeth as like an abridged season sort of thing, like carrying on her story, like what happens to her next, do let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear the sort of feedback from this. So until then, I'm not going to do the thing I started to do recently and just stick this in my book like a little memory sort of memento thing. I'm going to wait until this comes out, give it a week, and if I haven't much feedback, then I will just carry on doing this as my own solo sort of thing, and then stick it in the book once I finish doing it. But yeah, do let me know if you've got hold of this TTRPG, whether you are enjoying it, playing with your groups, what you do and don't like. Have you done this solo? I mean, you may have been playing it solo before I've done, but I'm the first one to put it on fucking YouTube. Hey! So yeah, do let me know what it's like, and like I want to cover this game more, and I'm going to cover this game more, but give me the reasons to cover it as soon as fucking possible. So yeah, do check out the links in the description below. You'll find the backer kit there in case they do like any pre-order things on the website if you want to learn more. Do check out the Playing with Diceself podcast, because I do a lot of solo play stuff. I've actually done so much solo play stuff this year in 2026 in the year of Lord Talos. 4 years shy of like the Ghost in the Shell 2030. Just shit all the fucking glamour, honestly. Just fucking cryptocurrency nepo babies. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Yeah, do check out the other solo stuff that I've done. There's been some cyberpunk stuff as well. We've also done a massive solo Cyberpunk Red campaign using the official solo rules for that one, which was a lot of fun as well. I could have actually had that book to help me out with some things, shouldn't I? Anyway, check out the solo stuff I've done. Like, share, subscribe, and all that fun YouTube shenanigans. And I'll see you on the next upload, whenever and wherever that may well be for you. And again, Mantic Games, thank you so much for the advanced copy of the Ghost in the Shell TTRPG. I can't wait to be talking about it more and showcasing what I think is a really fun fucking game. So yeah, until next time, farewell.